Eva Přáda. I worked as a postdoctoral researcher at TU Wien in the group of bioprocess development. And my research focus is currently on the production of enzymes and other pharmaceutically relevant proteins in microbials. I wouldn't say it was a specific event. It was rather a gradual inclination towards nature, towards biology, and later towards chemistry, which was obviously influenced by my parents in the beginning, who took me to the nature. I was always fascinated by how trees grow, how animals behave, and by the little details. I think another kind of key events were later biological and chemistry Olympiads, which I participated as a teenager. And later the opportunity to actually participate in the research, thanks to the programs like Open Science, which enable high school students to actually take part in the research. I think I was mainly inspired by my surroundings, so by my colleagues, my classmates, which also went to study abroad. At that time, I already worked in the research group in Prague, so I knew that this is the valued experience to get some research experience abroad. And also what really helped me was that I was able to obtain a scholarship from Bakala Foundation and also from Krsek Foundation. So after I already got this scholarship, I really had to go there because this was quite an achievement for me and I took it as a challenge. I think what was the most difficult about the whole process of being accepted to Cambridge wasn't actually getting to Cambridge itself, so the interview itself, but it was rather about obtaining the funding to go there. It really depends to which program you apply, but these research-based master programs and also the PhD programs, if you come with your own money, then it's usually not a problem to get a place there. But obviously it depends on the motivation, so always there is the interview with the main supervisor, and I think what greatly helped me was the previous research experience, which is quite unique in the Czech Republic, I have to say, because elsewhere it's not usual that high school students or early university students really get to the real research. So in the end of my PhD in Cambridge, it is usual that people go elsewhere to do the next career step. So I was in the end of my PhD and I was searching for a position. So at that time, it was actually a combination of the factors that I ended up in Vienna, but there is a common theme in the research I do now and in the research I did previously in Cambridge. And it's still about the protein stability and the ways of protein aggregation. So this is kind of the common link between my PhD and between my current research. I guess each place is unique and it's defined by the country. I have to say that here the research environment is much more similar to the research environment in Czechia, in contrast to Cambridge, I have to say, because really Cambridge was very similar to these Harry Potter movies, Harry Potter books, and I have to say it reflects the reality quite accurately. Whereas here the system, the organization of the university is quite similar to how the research is organized in Czechia. So my research was centered around glucagon-like peptide 1, which is the basic molecule of, for example, Ozempic, which is now used as the obesity treatment drug, and there is now a great interest around this molecule. And what I studied specifically was the aggregation and stability of the drug. So there are two key aspects, two most interesting aspects about this research. And this is first the stability of drugs itself, which is relevant to the industry, obviously. In industry, people want to design molecules that are stable, that have minimal degradation over time. And it's also important to consider all the factors in the manufacturing and in the production of the drug. Another aspect is the aggregation itself, and studies focused on the mechanism of aggregation. Aggregation occurs in many ways, so this is widely studied, for example, in respect to the neurodegenerative diseases, formation of these amyloid plaques in the disease. And this is a similar type of the aggregation, and people really want to understand the mechanism to be able to target the treatment of the disease. Widely speaking, we focus on the production strategies of enzymes and other proteins in the microbials, and specifically in the strategy where protein is produced to such an extent that it starts to aggregate directly inside the bacteria, which produces the protein. And this overproduction causes the formation of particles of the aggregated protein. This was something which was undesirable until recently, because this aggregated protein, these aggregated enzymes are not active. But there are also certain advantages. So really large amounts of proteins are produced in the bacteria which aggregate. It is easy to separate these aggregates from the cells, but this processing requires further steps. So these aggregates have to be dissolved and then so-called refolded back to the native conformation so that the enzyme gets back its activity, or the protein gets back the activity that it is supposed to have. This was during my PhD, and AstraZeneca as well as Novo Nordisk, they are interested in these glucagon-like peptide analogs, so the obesity treatment drugs and the diabetes treatment drugs. And in this case, they basically gave us the research topic. They gave us the topic to focus on. They told us in which aspects they are interested in, what is relevant to the industry. It is quite similar now in this project. We are collaborating with Boehringer Ingelheim, which has the local site in Vienna. And again, they help us to define the topic, and they tell us what they are interested in the industry, in the processing chain, in the industrial processing chain. And we kind of help them to deal with the problems that they discover during the processes. From my personal experience, also what I experienced during my PhD, I think it's important to give the initial research direction, to somehow define the project and start together with the student. Later, the supervisor, I think, should work as the advisor, as a person who helps the student if there are any obstacles in the PhD research. But I think the PhD research itself should be owned by the student. So PhD students are really people with completed university education, and they just need the support. So if there is any obstacle in the project, I think the student shouldn't be afraid to approach the supervisor to discuss the problems or to redefine the project if needed. I have to say that living in Vienna is quite similar to living in Prague. And this is again in contrast to Cambridge, where everything was a little bit different. So I feel definitely much more like at home. And also I think the university environment contributes to that, because I think this works really nicely within the university. And obviously this is kind of the next career phase, which comes with many challenges, many new responsibilities. So I think it really gave me a lot. And also I came to the new problems, which I didn't encounter during my PhD. And now it was entirely up to me to find the solution to these problems. I would still like to do science. It doesn't matter to me that much in which form, if in the academia or in the industry, in some, let's say, private company, but I still would like to be in contact with science and to do the research itself. Ideally, I would like to go back to the Czech Republic. This is mainly due to the personal reasons, because I have to say the opportunities in Vienna in let's say, pharma research are much better than in Czechia, but I think it's still possible to do high-quality research in the Czech Republic, and I think I also have something to contribute there.